All right, so first and foremost, I want to start off by saying Barakathon, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honor unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the Hopeful Let, starting with the 144,000. Shalom. All right, so title of the lesson will be perfect through sufferings. And this morning, when I got up early for conditioning, hit me in the spirit on. I was going to the precept, 2 Corinthians 12 and 7, right? And Lord willing, we'll start here, right? So he says, and I got a few more precepts as well that we're gonna read in NLT, right? But it says, this is Paul talking, right? It says, unless I should, it says, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, right? So, as we learn this knowledge and this truth, we start, a lot of people take it as if, they just hit the lottery or something, which it is, right? I guess you could say an aspect, but you got to be humble and humility. You got to be humble and have humility, man, right? You got to understand that that you're not more than what you think you are, right? You got to be humble enough to take this knowledge and understand it and humble yourself under Yahweh Shem Shah, right? See, people know a lot. They they be able to teach, they be able to understand, and they think they more than what they is. Start thinking they smart, start doing this and that, start lacking study and whatnot, things of that nature, right? Because they feel like they know it all. But as the key read says, that was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. And that's why you have that day, that constant, that it's a measure, a just balance. Yahweh Shem don't let you get too high and let you get too low. It's that just balance to keep you working, right? And I had, like I said, when I was meditating in this lesson, excuse me for that, as I was meditating in this lesson, where is it at? Bear with me. I had already had it searched up. Buffet definition. Here it is. What does it mean buffet someone? Right? It says to buffet someone means to repeatedly strike them often with hand and fist. It can also mean to strike against or push something forcefully and repeat it, like wind the waves. In the figurative sense, buffeted, right, can describe being subjected to hardship, adversity, or persistent trials, right? And that's what you got to understand, right? How about Shem lets you get too high and get too low, but that's where you have that daily that temptation, right? That's why he said, when you're drawn away of your own lust, right? So like for notifications, right? So we're gonna go back to the KJV, but I'm gonna read you verse 7 in the NLT, right? It says, even though I have received the wonderful revelations from Yahweh, right? Because even though we got this knowledge, right, we still got to stay humble and do the will of the works. How about Shem Shah? You can't think of yourself to be more than what you is, because scriptures. As for a man thinking himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself, man. Right? You can't think yourself to be more than what you is, man. Right? You trying to push, you trying to do all these things, right? You trying to think yourself to be, you think you big holly jolly because you got this truth. And we seen what happened to Most High humbled a few guys. I forgot the guy's name, he was on the interview thing, but the Most High humbled him, man. Right? You got to be humble in this truth, right? Humble in humility, right? You got to exalt yourself to be a servant to Yahweh Shem Shah. Nobody walked earth perfect except Yahweh Shah, right? Well, with the title of the lesson, right, we're gonna get into perfect through sufferings, right? But to continue reading, it says, even though I have received such wonderful revelations from Yahweh, so to keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger from Satan to torment me and keep me from being proud. And that's that daily trial, man, right? A daily trial we read about, right? Satan trying to tempt you, right? Did he not tempt you how Shah? Right? Matthew's 4:3, Luke 4:3. Did he not tempt you how Shah? Right? It's that daily temptation that that comes upon you, right? But it make you go harder, right? Keep reading on. For this thing, it says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, they might depart from me, right? He's praying that it depart from him, right? And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities. Right in that red, see how I talk, that the power of Mashiach may rest upon me. Meaning what? Right? So he said, my grace is sufficient for thee, because we have the grace, Yahweh Shah. Understand, we're not judged by the law, but and then we don't do what we want. We got the grace of Yahweh Shah upon us, right? And he fills us with that, each and every day he fills us with the spirit to be able to overcome and fight through this suffering, fight through this battle we're going through. Because he faced the same things, right? He faced the same thing. What is that? What say it's in? It's like, let me see. Servant, not greater than. Yeah. John 15:20. He said, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. Right? With all things they will do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. But the point is in verse 20, right? They persecute you because they persecuted me. Right? Yahweh went through these same things we're facing now. Right? And that's why he gave us the blueprint. He came out here to be that comfort for us, to show us and direct us through these troubles, through these trials. But that's why Paul saying that's why he said, my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities. Right? The infirmities, he rather glory in his weaknesses. He glory in the things that he glory in the things that that he faced and he go through, because that's what makes him perfect. Right? He corrected his mistakes. Right? It said that the power of my shout may rest upon me, right? So let's read this in the NLT, right? It says, each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I'm glad to boast about my weakness, so that the power of Hamashiach can work through me, because we understand it. How I said, I come for those who are sick. I come for those who need a physician. Well, if you think you perfect, you got it all, you know all of it, you think you don't need nothing, you too high, you ain't got to study no more, you done already figured it out. Well, what's the point of what's the point of Yahweh? What else do you need to do for you? Because you already got to figure it out, right? But that's why Paul's saying I boast in my infirmities, right? I boast in my weakness, right? Because that helps him grow, that helps him learn through Yahweh. And we learn by our weaknesses and things that the fiery trial we face, right? We suffer that and we correct it, right? We correct it through the spirit of power Yahweh. We push in the spirit, right? Because we're servants of righteousness, right? And I got some notes right here I want to read to it, right? Because it makes us go harder in this truth, right? It makes us go harder in this truth. It makes us, it's like with if a brother having a hard time, if a brother have a hard time doing something, well, he gonna study, he gonna push it more, and he gonna push it more and fight against that weakness, fight against what's holding him back. It makes us go harder. That fiery trial makes us go 10 times harder and continue to push stronger and stronger through the spirit of Yahweh, right? Right here it says us going through hardship, facing a lot of shit, then facing that spiritual weakness, it pushes us to go harder, to fight more. This is why he said, I would glory in my infirmities. It give us an urge. You got Satan trying to pull us down. You got Satan trying to tempt us, and we let them know we fight. We in the scriptures daily. Right, we doing the will, we doing the works daily, right? Not just when things good, daily, things bad and all that, right? Remember Job, right? Job lost his family, Job lost his wife, his kids, his cat. Job lost everything, right? And the Most High was sending Job he was sending Satan to test Job, because Satan thought Job was gonna fold when things got hard. Now that make us go harder. That make us get into the truth more and more, because we've got the faith of Yahweh to understand that we're gonna be brought through it. We're going to be pushed. It's going to help us get through it. That's why we made perfect through our sufferings, man. Right? That's why we made perfect through our sufferings. The things we face and things we go through is what's going to build us into being a proper guy. What's going to build us to be. That's that sincere milk and becoming a spiritual man, right? Taking these battles, because once you fight this urge off through spirit power, once let you get get through that weakness, right? Now you strong enough to block it away. Now you strong enough to block out the party and the drinking all the time, the smoke. You smart enough to purge all those things away. Because you glorify them, not run away from them. You glorify them, you endured the suffering. You pushed it away, man. You get through it, right? It's 2 Corinthians 4, 16 and 17, right? It said, for which cause we faint not, but the outward man perish, and that's the outward man is that flesh, because the flesh gonna want to do everything of the flesh. The flesh gonna want to fall in those weaknesses, because it's easy to live in your. That's why you think the world choose the wide gate, because it's easy to live in those weaknesses, man. It's easy to fall into those weaknesses. It's easy just to give into it, right? Instead of trying to fight in it, it's easy just to fall into it, like saying fuck it, right? Fuck it, I ain't even finna try no more. And that's what Satan wants. Right? That's why the Most High that's why the Most High got that just balance each and every day, so you don't get too proud. It keeps you working. That's why Paul also said, I boast in my infirmities, right? Because these weaknesses, they think they're going to get me my weaknesses, but I'm going to turn these weaknesses into strengths. I'm going to fight things away to where they can't come against me no more, right? Because Esau is the physical form of Satan. Then you got Satan, the spiritual demon of doubt, right? Esau know Jake pressure points. The music, the food, the chicken, the money, they know Jake pressure points. These are things that we boasted in. We boasted in our weakness on these things, right? We endure the suffering of these things, right? So therefore we can purge them away, we can get rid of them, right? It says, for we faint not, but through the outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day, and that's the spirit. Because each and every day you striving with Yahushua, he's supplying us more and more with the spirit to be able to overcome and fight these things that's trying to pull us away, right? But it's also remaining. You also got to understand it's that just balance. It's that just balance. Because why? Each and every day it shows us that we got to go harder and harder and harder, right? Because the minute you give up, the minute you think you proud, the minute you think you good, hey, what the scripture say? What is that? 1 Peter, I want to say 5, right? 1 Peter 5 and 8, be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, man. Soon as you think you cool, you take off that garment. You stop the studying. You stop to think, because you think you got it, right? Boom. It's only. That's why 12 and 7, what he said, right? I got a thorn in my flesh. Message for Satan that each and every day he's trying to, let's see, I still got to pull it up, yeah, right? And in the KJV it says, lest I should be exalted above measure. I read it in the NLT. It says, even though I have received such wonderful revelations, even though we got this knowledge from Yahweh, so to keep me from becoming proud, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a message from Satan to torment me and keep me from becoming proud, man. Right? There are 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. Right? But it's that just balance. Because let Jake have it easy out here. Jake already living this free will going to wide gate. Babylon allowed them to do that. So when you serve Yahushua, you gotta have that just balance. You gotta understand things gonna be good, things gonna be bad. But when things go bad, that's the point where you reflect and understand. That's the time for you to reflect and understand. Right? That's the time for you to reflect and boast in your infirmities. Right? Endure the suffering, so that therefore you can perfect the time, so you can perfect those things. Once again, we made perfect through our suffering. See, Jake don't want to acknowledge his weakness. Jake don't want to be perfect through the suffering. Jake want everything to be perfect for him already. Jake want the easy life. See, the elect, they endure the hardship, they endure the pain. These are things that the prophets, the Yahushua, the prophets, the apostles, the disciples later turned apostles, that these things they faced before us. And they told us about these things. Therefore, now we boast in our infirmities amongst these things, because everybody got their own weaknesses. Because what the scriptures say, we fighting against spiritual wickedness in high places. You have these things. You have that spiritual demon of doubt trying to get you in all types of places, but you boast in them and you fight against it, right? You endure the pain and suffering of then going against it, rather than giving it to it. That's why Yahushua said, you have kept thy patience, right? Since you have kept thy patience. Patience, work of faith. You got to keep that faith to understand how Yahushua is going to bring you through it. And it could be anything, man. It could be anything. It ain't just about, smoking, drinking, and whatnot. But, hey, time can get hard with the rent due. Car can get taken away. Ain't that much food in the house. Things come. But that's that just balance to keep you going harder in the spirit of power, Yahushua, man. Right? Instead of just giving in to, ain't no food in the house, so you go sell out, you go selling drugs, get some money. You go stealing to get some money. You know, you sell out. You go back in the world to find a way to make a way. Understanding that Yahweh Shai is gonna make a way. He the one who gonna bring us through this, right? Verse 9, right? And this is one of my favorite precepts right here. Verse 9 says, each time he said, my grace is all you need, man. Because the grace of Yahweh Shai is upon us. That's the reason he laid down on the cross. His grace is upon us. He brought us back into the favor of Yahweh Shai. So we're going to be delivered from this place. Yeah, we living through the curses and things and whatnot. That's why we got to keep faith. You saved by faith and grace, doing the works, doing the things that he set for us to do, right? Real quick, precept real fast. John 14, and do I got it in my notes? I ain't put it in my notes. John 14 and 12. It says, verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto the Father. Right? So we gotta be doing the works, Yahweh Shai. If you believe in Yahweh Shai, you're gonna do the works. Right? You doing the works, that you got faith in his plan, you got faith in what he showed us. You believe in him. Without faith is it impossible, man. Right? So if you got faith in Yahweh Shai, you need to be doing the works. You ain't doing anything. One of those things you gotta be doing is enduring this suffering, enduring this pain. Right? What he said, another quick precept real fast. Matthew 11. And I start at verse 28. It says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Right? All you that's going through it, that you in weakness, right? All you that's just having hardship. How would I say he give us rest, right? He said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, because what? Yahweh went through these things, man. He said, for I am meek and lowly in heart. Right? He humble. He understand. He understand things. He understood the things he got to go through. Philippians chapter 2, let this mind be in you. That's why you come into Yahweh Shai, you gotta put off that old man. You gotta put off that old man. You gotta come in as a spiritual man. That's why he also said you gotta be reborn again of the spirit, man. Because you can't come in there with that proudly, that leaven, that boastful way of the world. You can't. That's why when you come in this truth, you understand. Why we say, when you come to serve the Lord, be ready for temptation, really paraphrasing. Because it's going to be temptation, but it's just balance. But these temptations and these sufferings we're going through, that's what makes us perfect. See, Jake them ain't going to do that. Jake going to run from it. That's why most are not dealing with them, because they ain't ready, man. They ain't ready to be a proper guy yet. They ain't ready to be a proper guy yet. They still choosing the wide gate. See, that narrow passage, things on the right, things on the left. If you're going to face the things before, how can you be set to receive the heritage, really paraphrasing? 2 Ezra chapter 7. You can't receive the kingdom of Galatians 4, right? What are you saying? Hey, you a servant until appointed of your father. Well, until Yahweh Shai appoint us ready, until Yahweh Shai appoint us ready, we need to be in doing it. We need to be a servant for righteous sake, man. We need to be a servant for righteousness. We need to purge out so we can't let sin run us. Right, let me finish this real fast. I got a few precepts while they on my mind. It says, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light, man. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Right? I'm gonna hit this I'm gonna hit that last precept in NLT. Going to the sea. Right? And I got a few more precepts in mind. Right? It says, for my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light. Right? Because this ain't nothing. What's in front of us it ain't nothing, man. Right? It ain't nothing. Right? 29 says, take my yoke upon you, let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest in your soul. Right? That's that just balance. Because once again, the devil tempted Yahweh Shai. But what? Yahweh Shai, what he said, matter of fact, I'm gonna go to it real fast. What Yahweh Shai tell him, right? Matthew 4 and 10. Then Yahweh Shai said, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord Yahweh thy power, and him shalt thou only serve. Right? You can't worship two masters. You can't worship mammon, and you can't serve the Lord and serve mammon. Right? You got to choose the way of Yahweh Shai, man. And therefore, in this path that we on, we got to endure the suffering. That's what's gonna make us perfect. Person not the way of this world, because the way of this world is all around us. See, the spirit of Babylon is all around. That wide gate is right there. It's easy to step through. But this narrow passage, ain't many people gonna endure that suffering and pain, right? So I had a few precepts. I want to go to Romans. What else I was, Lord willing, it come back to me. Dang, what I was gonna go to. Oh. You got it's like it, bear with me. You got sin that bring shame. KJV. Let me see. It come up. Yeah. Ecclesiastes. What's that? Sirach 4 and 21. Right? It says, right? It says, for there is shame that bringeth sin, right? And that shame which is glory and grace, right? Because you have people going these things, going out, and guess what? They just give up. They just quit, right? But what Paul say, I boast in my infirmities, and that's that shame that which is glory and grace. Because why? You boast in your infirmities and you correct yourself through the Spirit of power. How about Shah? Right? That's why we're service to righteousness, man. Right? See, a lot of people service to sin. A lot of people service to iniquity. Right? But we service to righteousness, right? That's what's going to lead me. Matter of fact, one more quick precept, 2 Esdras 16. Before I go to Romans real fast. 76, right? It says, and the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, says the Lord Yahweh, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. So don't let this thing weigh you down, man. Because we're not perfect. But that's why we striving to push. We made perfect through our sufferings. See, that's why you need wacky tacky Christians talking about you out here telling us you got to keep every law to be perfect. Or the Israelites count teaching that you got to go through law to be perfect. When they don't know in the scriptures, they not knowing the scriptures, man. They don't know what they're talking about, right? So this is Romans chapter 6, right? And start at verse 12, right? It says, let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. So don't let sin control you. 2 Esdras 16 and 76, man. Let not sin weigh you down, and let not your iniquity lift themselves up, man. Right? Don't let sin control you. Right? It said, neither ye yield your members as instrument of unrighteousness unto sin. Don't stop it. Don't give in to sin, man. Don't let that control you. But yield yourselves unto Yahweh as those that are alive from the dead. Because you got to understand, when you ain't in this truth, before you come in this truth, you dead, you a zombie. Right? That's why the scriptures, John 6:63 said, the spirit will quicken you. Quicken means to bring alive spiritually. We being brought alive spiritually because this flesh is nothing. This flesh is going to be done away with. This flesh is sold under sin. We're going to be delivered from this captive of this bondage of corruption. We're going to be delivered from this flesh. Right? So don't give in to this. Right? Because you have that daily battle spirit versus the flesh. That's why this is a spiritual thing, man. That's why this truth is spiritual. You got to come to Yahweh Shah spiritually. Paul said, I bear witness through my conscience. Right? You got to bear witness through your conscience because the flesh, the outward man going to perish. The inner man is renewed day by day. That's the spirit. Each and every day, Yahweh Shah is going to provide it. And we're going to go back to that because I got another precept I want to read in that, right? It says, as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instrument of righteousness unto Yahweh. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law. And that's what they don't understand, but you're under grace. That's why Paul said what? I boast in my infirmities, right? Because what? He said he was praying that Yahweh Shah move. He prayed he moved that thorn from him. He removed Satan from that temptation, right? But what Yahweh Shah tell him? My grace is all that you need. Because the grace is upon us. Yahweh seeing who gonna fight, who gonna keep going, who gonna go harder when that temptation comes. Who gonna keep their patience and continue to fight, or who gonna give into the ways of this world? Who gonna quit? Right? That's why he said, he that shall endure unto the end. You gotta have the endurance, you gotta have the fight. Right? The scripture say, think it not a strange thing when that fiery trial. Because the spirit of Yahweh shall rest upon you. When that spirit comes upon us, you're gonna face temptation. Right? You're gonna face hardship. You're gonna face these things. That's what's set in this truth. That's what's set in this ministry. That's one thing you gotta accept because we made perfect through our suffering. Persecuting and get rid of these things, purging these things away from us, taking up our own way and purging it out and coming to Yahweh Shah as a new man. That's what he's looking for. Giving up your own way, giving up your own self. That's what Yahweh Shah did. He gave up his own self. Right? He didn't think about his own way. You gotta give up yourself, man. Right? You got to endure these sufferings because that's what's going to make us perfect. Hardships, pain, suffering. That's what make you perfect. That's what make us tough. That's what make us wise as a serpent, humble as a dove. So you had the spiritual demon of doubt, and you had the physical form, say Esau, Edom running around. They can't come against us because we build it up through the spirit of power, Yahawashi Yahushua. We got the shield of faith, and we got the garments of Yahawashi Yahushua, man. They can't come against us, right? It says, what then? Well, it's like I finished in verse 14. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you're not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we're not under the law, but under grace? Yahweh forbid. We still rehearse the righteous act, man. Judges 5:11. We still do the righteous thing Yahweh said for us to do. He said, know ye not, that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, right? Know ye not who you supposed to serve, right? His servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. And we're called to be servants unto righteousness, man. Right? When you were called in this truth, right? The elect men who called in this truth, we called to be servants unto righteousness. Right? We're rehearsing that righteous act. No, we're not gonna be perfect, but we're servants unto righteousness. Right? What does Scripture say? Focus on righteousness in the kingdom, and all things should be added unto thee. We focus on righteousness in the kingdom, strive, rehearsing that righteous act, marking our path out of Yahweh by seeing how shot, man. You know, the author and finisher of our faith, you marking our path after him. Once again, Philippians 2, I want to say in verse 5, let this mind be in you, man. We let the mind be how by seeing how shot be in nothing. Rehearse, walking that righteous path, man. In all ways, pushing, striving, right? And doing the suffering that come with it. Take my yoke for his light. Right? Because the suffering, the things we going through now, it ain't compared to what's in front of us. Romans 8, right? And also, it's like I'm gonna read this note right here too. We're called as servants. We were called for obedience to righteousness. We got to put off our own way, right? I'm gonna go back to second 2 Corinthians 4:16. Again says, for which cause we faint not. But though our outward man, which is the flesh, perish, yet the inner man is renewed day by day, right? Because each and every day you strive through the Spirit, Yahweh is going to supply you with the Spirit to overcome these temptations, overcome these devils. He said, for our light affliction, for my yoke, take my yoke upon you for his light, right? For our light affliction, because this stuff's light, man. This ain't nothing. And then also, when we finna go through Jacob's trouble and all that, yeah, it's going to be tough on us, but it's going to be light because why? We got the Spirit and power of Yahweh. He going to help us get through it. And that's why you got to endure that suffering now, because the things we're going through now ain't even scratching the surface of what's really to come. This is just the pregame to get you right. The test to keep you going, because the test is really going to come, the MOTB, right? You got Esau coming around slaughtering and killing, because they're going to be on. It's going to be tests to come, but you got to prepare yourself mentally through the whole ride. You can't just try it then. No, it's a patient process. That patient work of faith. You got to keep your faith. You got to keep going. You got to endure these sufferings to understand no matter what you're facing, Yahweh is going to help you get through it, right? It says, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, right? It may seem long, but it's but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, man, right? Because the glory is in front of us, right? Let's read that real fast, right? That's why, by the fact, I'm going to read Romans 8:17 and 18. Right? It says, if children, then heirs. Right? Heirs is someone who says to receive something. Heirs of Yahweh and joint heirs with the Mashiach, Yahweh Shah. Right? If so be that, right? It's like, if so be that we suffer with him, because we got to suffer. Just as Yahweh Shah suffered, we got to suffer. Right? That we may also be glorified together. For I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us, the kingdom, spiritual powers. Right, being honored and glorified in the sight of Yahweh Bashim Hawashah, man. Ain't nothing down here gonna beat that. Right? That's why we gotta endure these suffering, endure these pain. That's what's gonna make us perfect. Right? Taking on that hardship, fighting it off, fighting off the urge to do the things of this world, purging out that pride, purging out your own way. Right? What is that? 2 Samuel 10:6. It says you become a new man. When you come to Yahweh Bashim Hawashah, you become a new man. Right? A spiritual man. Right? Let's see. I don't want to hit anything else. I know I'm going to hit Hebrews. So I think it was anything else in my mind I wanted to hit earlier as I was meditating in the lesson. And the lesson hit me, man, because, as more and more as we see time go on, you see the digital things coming out, and I know, even with talking with brothers, when we do camps or whatnot, it hit me in the spirit, right? Because, we got to understand, matter of fact, It is a precept. Thwadi Habashah. What is that? Proverbs 16:11, right? He said, just weight and balance are the Lord's, Yahweh, and all the weights of the bag are his work, right? Because it's a just balance, man. It's a just balance. These sufferings, things we go through, keep us balanced. So you don't get too high of yourself or you don't get too low. It keep you going hard. It keep you steady, man. Keep you going, right? Because we got to think when we had the name, right, and when Apostle Hart went in this day there in the street ministry, right, hit me deep in the spirit because he was talking about Jeremiah 2 and he was explaining Jeremiah 2:20. He was explaining the beginning part of it about how it talks about how it says, "That's why I broke your yoke." Merely paraphrasing, "If I have broken your yoke, right? He have helped us through these captivities, right? And we said we wouldn't transgress because we had a name." Right? See, Jake, hypocrite. Jake called on Yahweh. As soon as things get good, Jake go back into his own. He go back to his own way, right? And that's what they was doing. That's what our nation was doing before, right? So when he took his name from it, and then he brought it back into it. So now we have that just balance, right? That always keep going. That's why we under the curse. We under the suffering. That's why we got to endure these things. Yahweh Shai, because he know everybody rocking with him when everything going good. That's why he sent. That's why what Satan tell him, right? Hey, if if you make things, Job got all these things now, but let things go bad, he gonna curse you. Well, when things went bad, Job ain't quit. Job kept his patience, and we got to keep your patience, man. Patient work in faith. These sufferings that we're gonna go through is gonna build you up into the spiritual Mary. How about build you up into a proper God, right? Build you up to a proper power, man. So when the time comes, when it's time for us to be exalted, it ain't no need to trying to perfect you then, because we done perfected through the sufferings and the things we went through. Right? Esau mad because he like, how can I get to him? You can't get to him. We closed in the armor of Yahweh. We've been since we came in the truth, we've been building ourselves up. We ain't try to wait till things got hard. We've been building ourselves up since then, man. Right? So I want to bring that out just because I done quoted it a few times. It was that Revelations 3, might be 13. No, nah. It's 3 and 10, right? Revelation 3 and 10 says, as you read, Yahweh Shah talking. He said, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world and try to dwell upon the earth, man. And when that time comes, we do these things, like when Jacob trouble hit things of that nature, Yahweh Shah is going to lead the elect through these things, and he's going to help us through it. That's why the elect going to live for eternity, man. The elect is going to overcome death. We're going to be changed out of this bondage of corruption. You're going to be changed into spiritual bodies, man. Right? One quick precept, end it off, right? Hebrews 2, right? In verse 9 and 10, it says, but we see, matter of fact, let's read it in the NLT. Let's see what it says in the NLT, right? This Hebrews 2 and 9 and 10 says, what we do see is Yahweh Shah, for who a little while was given a position, right? Position to what? Right? Come down and lay down for. That's why you got to know why he laid down, who he laid down for, right? In the resurrection, right? You got to know that, right? He was given a position, right? He said, who was for a little while was given a position, a little lower than the angels, and because he suffered death for us, right? He is now slacky for that. He is now crowned with the glory and honor. It just made me think about Paul. When Paul said, he has a crown set up for me. Paul didn't receive his crown that time. Reincarnation. Paul gonna receive his crown when Yahweh Shai and the angels come back and deliver their elect, man. When we've been delivered from this place, right? There ain't nothing new under the sun. 2 Ezra 2, verse 40 on down. Right, when Ezra's seeing them, Yahweh Shai put the crown on the people, them the ones who endured the suffering, who endured the pain, who endured it because they understood in due time was going to be delivered, right? He said he was crowned with glory and honor, yes, by Yahweh's grace. Yahweh Shai tasted death for everyone. Yahweh, for whom and through everything was made, chose to bring many children unto glory, and it was only right that he should make Yahweh Shai, through his suffering, a perfect leader, fit to them, to their salvation. I'm gonna read this verse 10 in the KJV, right? It says, for it became him for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, and bringing many sons to our glory, bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings, man. Right? Because Yahweh Shai suffered. He suffered all of it, right? So we made perfect through our sufferings, right? We made perfect through our suffering. Because Yahweh Shai, was the first created being. Yahushua was the one who Yahweh gave Yahushua, John chapter 1, right? He gave Yahushua the blueprint, create the world, and Yahushua created the angels to help him create the world, right? He gave Yahushua got everything in righteousness, in fullness. He got everything in fullness. He got everything in righteousness in the fullness. He had the fullness, man, right? So now he supplies us each and every day to be able to overcome. And on that path of us being filled up, being full, we ain't doing the suffering, we ain't doing the pain, the same thing he went through, and we've been made perfect through that suffering, been made perfect through that pain, right? You know, and that's what it is, man, right? So kind of made a point, Slacky for. I had some precepts lined up, but I also moving through the spirit as well, right? But Lord willing, this was edifying, and exalting, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.